Elsewhere is a book by Gabrielle Zevin. I love it. Oh my god, I like it. I really do love it. It's a really good book. It's a really good read, fast read. It is about a girl named Elizabeth Mary Hall, Liz, who is 15 years old and dies in a bicycle accident. So this is pretty much her afterlife on her point of view. Like the Lovely Bones by Alice Sebold. So she wakes up in this ship and meets Dondi, who is kind of like her roommate in the boat. And the boat is taking them, not a boat, it's a ship. It's a ship. It's kind of like a cruise ship. And it's taking them to this place called Elsewhere. Elsewhere is pretty much where all the dead people go. And she doesn't know she's dead. She meets a celebrity called Curtis Just. So she is very delighted. She thinks it's a dream. She's like, oh, this only like good things happen in a dream, like meeting your favorite celebrity. And when she realizes she's dead, it's through this magnifying, well, not magnifying glass, this like telescope thing on top of the ship called an observation deck. And she attends her own funeral. She realizes that it's been a week since she was dead, and she is very upset, taken by surprise. Oh my goodness, I am dead. So they arrive to this place called Elsewhere, heaven, and she meets her grandmother, who she has never met before because her grandmother died of breast cancer before she was born. Her grandmother's name is Betty, and Betty is like, oh, well, everybody here in Elsewhere are just backward. Kind of like The Curious Case of Benjamin Button by F. Scott Fitzgerald. So they're 7 days old, and they're taken on a river as babies, and back to Earth. So, in this, she is like, I'm protesting against this. I want to return back to Earth. I want to go back to my life because I was happy. And she really was happy. She had a, not perfect, but really nice life. And she was very sad, and she misses her family. Anyone who died probably would miss their family. And so she gets attached to this thing called the observation deck on a lighthouse. And she has to waste 5 kind of coins, atriums, on this observation like deck for 5 minutes of normal life seeing. So she spies on her, not spies, stalks her family days and months, and she just can't get over the fact that she's dead. And later on she kind of like is like, well, this is very unhealthy for me. So she decides to kind of like cool it a little bit and decides to try and make contact with the living, and she decides to go down a well. So she goes down a well, and then she gets captured, because diving in the well, having contact with human beings, is illegal in Elsewhere. So she is like, no, I am bound to do this, because she wanted to deliver a surprise for her family to make her death a little bit easier for them. Well, but she does so well. She meets Owen Wells. Oh, Wells. Oh, well. She makes a joke about it. It's really funny to me. And she ends up kind of like telling him a little bit, little by little, and she falls in love with him a little bit. And that's when the really big, like, juicy parts start to come. Excuse my face, but anyway, I'm not just talking about, like, romance. I'm talking about, you know, action and a really good thriller, and a lot of mysterious things start to happen during this scene. And I'm not going to tell you, you just have to read the book. So go read the book, go buy it. This book can be found at your local Barnes & Nobles. So while I was actually editing the video, I realized that I never actually said why I liked it. So I like it because it's really fast-paced, and life is very interesting, and the author really portrays that life always keeps you busy, whether it's like small things or big things going on. And I really love that in books. I do. That's a reason why I like action books. And another thing, it actually isn't exactly like The Lovely Bones. I mean, it does talk about afterlife and, you know, what happens when you're dead, and observing people different ways, but observing people. And I came to the realization that The Lovely Bones is mostly observation and not much of moving on, versus this book is more of you have to move on, you have to forget, no, not forget the people that were your family, but learn how to live with the fact that you might not, actually you're never going to see them again. And it really has good life lessons on, moving on, and that life is life, and it's always gonna keep on moving, keep on going, whether you like it or not. And in a way, she discovers that death is living, at least in elsewhere, because everybody ages backwards. It also reminds me of Ender's Game because it's in third person. The majority of the book is based off Liz, but there are parts in which Owen or Certus end up speaking and really taking part of it. And I really found that quite interesting, actually. I didn't like it at first because I'm not really getting into her head, but I ended up liking it later on, and I'm very happy. So let's see. Oh yes, there's a chapter, a 2-page chapter that I was not really in love with. It actually was really boring. But as soon as that chapter ended, boom, it picked up quick, and it really became a thriller for me. And I was like, oh my goodness, what's gonna happen next? And I think that this book is for anyone who loves thrillers, or, well, not exactly thrillers, but loves fast-paced books, or books that are gonna, go by quickly. And mystery is actually pretty decent part of it. And yeah, I just really recommend the book to anyone who wonders about the afterlife or things like that. Alright, thank you so much for listening. I really do appreciate it.